In this video, I tried being Terraria's Thorium mod with the Thrower class. The Thrower class is one of the 3 classes added in by the Thorium mod, but I feel like it is pretty unknown as the Bard class gets all the attention. In this video, I will be showing you the Thrower class and my experience using it. Let's begin. I started off by opening a Thorium Thrower starter bag, which gave me some early game thrower items, as well as the Thorium shield, which gave me some extra health. I then started exploring my world and I found some living wood trees, which I went down through to start mining and exploring caves. And my thrower weapons were not doing too great against enemies, but anyway, I just mined for a bit, getting life crystals and ores until I eventually got to max life, and I had the bright idea of fighting the Grand Thunderbird with only a gold chestplate and no arena. As you can expect, that did not go well and I lost. I then crafted a full set of gold armor after mining some more before the Eye of Cthulhu spawned in. Since I didn't have an arena, I lost to it. After making an arena, I fought the Grand Thunderbird, and here's how it went. After defeating the Grand Thunderbird, I went to craft the Sandstone armor set, which was the first thrower armor set, which had a nice set bonus of giving me the Sandstorm and a ball jump. I ended up being short of materials, so I had to kill the Grand Thunderbird again, which I did do. I then finished the armor set and I also crafted more thrower weapons. The limited ammo of the thrower weapons was rather annoying, especially when fighting bosses. The Desert Acolyte also spawned, who is an NPC that sells thrower items. It was now time to fight the King Slime, so let's go. Yeah, I love this game. Well anyway, that happened, but it is what it is, and I beat the King Slime on my next attempt. After beating the King Slime, I crafted some Shinobi Slicers, which were bouncing thrower weapons. I then fought the Eye of Cthulhu and lost. This point in the game was the point where I liked the thrower class the least, as I hated having limited ammunition. But after that defeat, I went mining again to get Thorium daggers, which were the ones I was using earlier before I fought the Eye again, and here's how it went. Wait, never mind, I meant I fought it 2 more times, and here's how the second attempt went. After beating the Eye of Cthulhu, I went to the Corruption to break 2 demon orbs to get the Goblin Army to spawn. I then started farming the King Slime, and I almost feel like I should have shown you these attempts instead, as the way I fought them is pretty cool. I used 2 new weapons, with one having short range and the other one having longer range but is heavily affected by gravity, and I alternated them depending on the King Slime's position. After killing the King Slime enough times, I got the item I wanted, the Technique Scroll Hidden Blade. So it turned turns out there's a bit more to the thrower class than just thrower weapons. There are technique scrolls which give different abilities which are powered by technique points that you get from damaging enemies. These abilities can range from simply an extra projectile, which the hidden blade is, to a literal clone that damages enemies. I then tried fighting the Ear of Worlds and I got destroyed, so I went up to the Sky Islands and killed some harpies to get harpy feathers, which I then used to craft the Harpy's Barrage, which are 3 piercing projectiles unaffected by gravity. I then fought the Ear of Worlds again, and after failing one more time, this happened. After beating the Ear of Worlds, I went back to my base to find the goblin armies spawning in. After killing them for a while, I finally beat it, and I can proudly say I didn't die once. I then went to the ocean to fight the queen jellyfish, and here's how it went. Honestly, the queen jellyfish was an extremely easy, but extremely boring boss, so I'm glad it only took one attempt. The next boss up was the Viscount, which had a spawning area somewhere underground, and luckily I'd already found it while mining earlier. I went to it before realizing I needed to get drops from a blood moon to summon it, so I summoned a blood moon and got the drops, and I also killed a mini boss called Patchwork. I then tried fighting Skeletron for fun, and I didn't beat it, so I went on to fighting the Viscount, and I repeatedly died to it until I ran out of materials to summon it. So after trying Skeletron one more time, I realized it was probably time for a weapon upgrade. So I went to the aquatic depths to mine aqualite ore to craft aqualite knives, which I never ended up using, and I went to the underworld to mine hellstone to craft molten knives, which I did end up using. After failing against the Viscount with my new weapons, I went up to the Sky Islands again to kill more harpies to get more feathers that I used to craft the flight armor set, which was a thrower armor set with the nice set bonus of giving you wings. I also crafted a new technique scroll which gave me the ability to throw an explosive flame projectile. I still couldn't beat the Viscount, so I went and fought Skeletron again, and here's what happened. After beating Skeletron, I went to the marble biome to kill some enemies to get bronze alloy fragments, which could now drop from them since Skeletron has been defeated. With those fragments, I was able to craft the bronze armor set, which was a better thrower armor set. I then went to the dungeon to get the Naiad's Sheave before I gathered spores in the jungle to create pod bombs. I was then able to combine those and the molten knives and the purple tomahawks I used earlier to craft the Light's Anguish, the thrower equivalent to the Knight's Edge. One thing to take note of for this weapon is that it's not consumable. Just because it isn't doesn't mean that I can spam it non-stop, as thrower weapons with unlimited use have cooldowns that make them deal no damage if you use them for too long, but they do have some advantages as they're actually able to be reforged. So with my new weapon in hand, I fought the Viscount again. After beating the Viscount, I ended up finding the meteor that landed in my world, where I killed a space thing that gave me the material to craft the spawner for the Star Scatter. Before fighting it, I got some Dracula things from Viscount loot bags. I only had enough materials for one attempt against the boss, but I still summoned it, and here's how it went. After beating the Star Scouter, I was pretty much ready for hard mode, with the only notable thing being that I got an accessory called the Canteen, which allowed me to make non-consumable thrower items take 40% longer to be unusable. Well anyway, it's time to fight the Wall of Flesh. So let's go! Wow, this boss fight is so difficult. I am struggling so hard right now. What is this insanely difficult boss fight? Oh, so I am blind. You heard of the insanely difficult boss fight of the Wall of Flesh? With the Wall of Flesh down, we are officially in hard mode, and I got my extra accessory slot, which I put the ninja emblem in, and then I crafted the Plague Doctor's armor set, which had a set bonus with something to do with flasks, which were items I didn't use, so it was irrelevant anyway. I broke some demon altars to get hard mode ores, and mined them to get an adamantite forge. I also crafted harpy wings. After getting enough adamantite, I was able to craft adamantite ricochets, which had good damage and would ricochet off of one enemy to another up to 4 times. After getting those items, I went to the snow biome during a blizzard to get the spawner for the next boss I'd be facing, the Borean Strider. After losing quickly on my first attempt, I tried again, and here's how it went. The Borean Strider was a nice and pretty chill boss to start off pre-hard mode with. There is actually another Thorium boss that I'm supposed to fight after this boss, but before fighting it, I bought some more Borean Strider loot bags from the Operator NPC to get the thrower weapon called the Cryofang. I then teleported to the Underworld. And wow, that was useful. So I went down in my elevator instead, and I fought the Fallen Beholder, and here's how it went. I almost feel like I deserve the title of King of Close Battles with how many fights I've won in this playthrough, which I almost died in. Well anyway, the Fallen Beholder dropped a thrower weapon called the Hell Roller, which I didn't really use too much. Anyway, I crafted the Queen Slime spawner and I fought and I struggled against it? Yeah, for some reason I was actually having a decently hard time with the Queen Slime. After failing twice, I tried the Destroyer and the Twins and I lost to both of them. I then found out that Thorium added a dash potion, which not only freed up an accessory slot, it also gave me a much better dash than before. After failing against the Queen Slime 2 more times, this happened. The Queen Slime itself wasn't too bad, but its minions kept on messing me up. But anyway, it's been defeated, so now it's on to the mech bosses. I tried fighting the Twins again, and I got close, but I died near the end. I also tried the Destroyer, but I got obliterated, so I went back to the Twins. All the mech bosses aren't too bad, they are mainly just long, which provides more room for error. After a couple more tries against the Twins, this happened. With the Twins defeated, I was able to craft a new thrower weapon called the Karanon, and I tried fighting the Destroyer and I failed again. After failing, I decided I should give Skeletron Prime a try, so I did, but I did not do it at the beginning of the night, but at 11 PM instead, so hopefully that doesn't turn out to be a problem. Anyway, here's how it went. With Skeletron Prime down, that means there is now only one mech boss left, the Destroyer, so I fought it again. You know, I love dying to a boss when it's almost dead. Anyway, here's how the next attempt went. With all 3 mech bosses dead, I could now make some new items. I was able to get a big weapon upgrade after I crafted a Soul Forge, which was an upgrade to the Adamantite Forge that also allowed some special crafting for Thorium items, with some being from a material dropped from mech bosses called Strange Plating. I was able to craft a thrower weapon called the Hadron Collider, and wow, it was a big upgrade, which you'll get to see through fighting the next boss in progression, the Lich. So let's get to it. So the Lich is summoned from an altar in a graveyard biome added in by the Thorium mod, which is by my dungeon. I felt ready to fight it, so I summoned it, and here's what I have to say about it. I absolutely shred the Lich, but the Lich absolutely shreds me. I also have the problem of my thrower weapon filling up the exhaustion bar, which heavily lowers my damage. My solution to this problem was to go to the aquatic depths and get some materials that upgrade my canteen into the mermaid's canteen, which made it take 60% more time to exhaust. I also reforged my accessories, and after a couple more attempts, this happened. Killing the Lich gave me a pretty good upgrade in power, as not only was I able to craft the next thrower armor set in progression, the Lich set, I also got an accessory called the Phylactery, which gave me a revive with a 4-minute cooldown. I also, as the smart person I am, summoned the solar eclipse to fight Mothron, before remembering that I would only spawn after Plantera has been beaten. So I used a city buster in the underground jungle to carve out an arena for Plantera, and I fought it, and here's how it went. After a nice and easy fight against Plantera, I went to the dungeon to farm enemies for a new material called Dark Matter, which dropped from post-Plantera enemies in the dungeon. I was also looking for Bone Lee as he dropped a technique scroll I wanted. I eventually found Bone Lee and killed him and unlocked him in the Deviant, and I realized something. Bone Lee had a guaranteed Dark Matter drop, and he also had the technique scroll drop, so I was able to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, and I eventually got both the technique scroll and enough to make the Shade Master armors set, which was the strongest pre-Moonlord armor set for the thrower class. The technique scroll I got was the Shadow Clone technique, which would summon a clone that damaged enemies by throwing projectiles at them. I then summoned a solar eclipse and farmed hero fragments, which allowed me to make the Terra knife. So you know how my previous weapon was already kinda OP? Well, this weapon really is. Now it's time to make Golem into a joke. Let's go. So after having the easiest golem boss fight ever, I went to the aquatic depths to try and summon the Forgotten Beholder, and it did once accidentally, but after that, no matter what I did, it just wouldn't spawn, even with 10 times spawn on. So after a bit, I just decided I would fight the better ocean boss instead, Duke Fishron. So I fought it, and on my first attempt, I lost, or so I thought, as I guess I defeated it at the same time as dying, but I'm so blind, I didn't even notice. Like, I literally picked up the items during my second attempt, but I didn't notice. So I'll just show you my second attempt, and here's how it went. Yeah, now we are really speeding through things, as after beating Duke Fishron, I just bought some more treasure bags and opened them until I got Fishron rings, and then I went straight to fighting the Empress of Light. After being the Empress of Light, it was time to fight the lunatic cultist, which to no one's surprise was extremely easy and I beat it with no problem. Now it was time for the pillars, but before I do those, there was a material I could craft first, Terrarium. It combines almost every ore, and with it I was able to craft the Terrarium Ripple Knife, which was like an even more OP version of the Terra Knife. With it and many deaths, I was able to beat the solar pillar, and slowly but surely I beat each pillar until they were all gone. Moonlord was about to spawn, and on my first attempt I lost. So before my second attempt, I crafted white dwarf cutters, which were made from white dwarf fragments, which were the thrower class's pillar fragments. I then fought the Moonlord again, and I still lost. The thing with Moonlord is that one mistake can cause death, as Moonlord has very high damage, but on the third attempt, this happened. Now that the Moonlord has been defeated, there is only one boss left, the Primordials. Before fighting them, I crafted the white dwarf armor as well as getting a thrower weapon with perfectly balanced damage. Now it was time to fight the Primordials. And wow, I just want to say I was warned beforehand about the Primordials being difficult, but it was beyond my expectations. They were on a completely different level compared to the previous bosses. At first I couldn't even kill one of the bosses, but slowly but surely I started getting better each attempt, being able to kill one, then two, and eventually all three. But then the Dream Eater spawns, and it is a nightmarish combination of all previous Primordials, but eventually after many attempts this happened. The Primordials have been defeated, marking the end of our thrower class journey. It has been a fun ride that is now over. If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. Thanks for watching, bye!